still riding the demo out here. I'm buying this plunge in the euro versus the yen. I loaded up heavy. 20 pips and down from here. 20 pips and then it's kind of light trading down there with really wide stops. And I'm let this cook for about 30 minutes. So the trick is that I'm going to exit here. From all my buying is going to exit here. And the exit's all queued up. And the deeper it goes, the tighter my stop and the bigger the take profit. I'm assuming everything's going to come back to that level here. That's my assumption. And the orders are placed. I'm going to walk away and see how long it takes to get paid on this. Also, on this account, we're still going to buy this British pound. As it reluctantly tries to leave the range station. 20 pip grid here. If I go to the daily, you're just drifting up into the floor from previous punishment. This month, had you bought the British pound on new lows here for the scalp and came back or just held through it, you're up on that trade right now. Plus this psycho burner. Plus this top become a bottom here. Classic on the daily. Double top becomes a bottom perfectly with low true range per bar per day. Obviously, there's going to be a big contention here, but I'm buying every pullback on the 4-hour time frame. So the trades that take 8 hours to make money or lose. And if you were prepared to buy this, which I was, I kept on reloading the wagon with shallow limits on this thing the whole time this accumulation phase is going on because it goes on forever. This thing hasn't done shit. All last week was just bullshit for some people. So if you're swing trading this, this bottom becomes a top, and then you get this psychodrama here where actually it does become a top, and it does crush to this mini vac, then it back to here. Then we're down into the people that would buy this void are a different kind of people because they can afford more punishment. They could scale into that trade and not even think anything of it because they know that their first exit for their scalp is going to be back to where they got in, the pivot. Here we're just cutting into fresh water now. Of course, the scalpers have had their fun off this treetop. But now, here the compounding. I'm also adding to my shorts on this CAD. Everything's going on at the same time in this account. Unfortunately, and I would buy here on limits if I thought I could get enough tickets going. I'd have a dead cat bounce script in here. Pick a 40 pip window here and just buy the plunge. I am looking for the retest here and lower. There's another high risk trade here. Not high risk, but just kind of assuming that buyers are going to come in probably if we ever make it down here in the next 8 hours. And these are just break-even bouncers. Different kind of thing than I do think this is going up in the long run, so I put limits in here earlier today to buy this little mini scoop because it's running out of gas. You know, look at the daily. Anybody that's loading the wagon on this vacuum that goes back to here is definitely thinking about cashing out, I would say, half their position to here just to pay for all that 40 pips of smash into the voids here. So I was getting into that void on Friday, and then of course just a skosh lower. But now you're getting the kind of quiet consolidation on the 4-hour chart. So this is the floor that you rejected. This bottom was supposed to become a top. and it blew through it because it was really more about this most recent bottom here. Only the most recent bottoms matter. So whatever your last girlfriend was, her bottom. It's the only bottom that matters is the last bottom. This is like a mini bottom here. So the question today or this week or this month or this year, how far can they push this down, and would you be a buyer down here? And I would say yes. If they stop me out of this trade, and this is not the shoulder forming on the 4 hour, then I need a backup plan in case I'm wrong. And if I'm running really tight stops, and I realize that I'm going to put a 9 pip stop in here for 8 hours like this, and that trade's really designed just to do a little bit of a plunge. It goes down 6 pips, and it's going to have a 9 pip stop, which is really like a 3 pip hard stop on that whole thing. You know, if you consider the top ticket of a 6 pip range is going to be your first entry. But your ratios are double your money, kinda, you know. And not every ticket's going to fill because maybe you'll only come into the very first top of that 6 range, and that's actually a depending on how you space the tickets in there, but they're a pip apart. So if you drop 2 banks of this, after a while, you know, it becomes real money. It's expensive. But here the ratio is 30 to make 60, so you'd put this down really deep because you're anticipating that it's going to crush into here and then retrace the total amount later. Just like this. Now, the dollar yen and the euro yen are just going off the cliff here. And this one I just kind of don't know if I'm buying enough. I'm going to let them come to me. If they could push it lower, I'll get the better price, but I'm not going to do any market order trading because I have so many tickets pending that it's just figured, well, that should be enough punishment there. Like, let the market come to me. Let the market prove me right. This is the Alexander Elder theory. If you're right about that move, then that should be where you're getting in, regardless of the pattern that happens during that price area. Whatever happens on the 15-minute candle in this zone is inconsequential to the broader picture of the retracement swing trade of putting in 100 pips stop to make 600 pips and waiting for the whole swing to go through. It doesn't mean you can't plant little scalp banks inside of this interwoven into the swing trade so you can cash on that game plan while your broader swing trade is in existence. You're going to go for something and trade inside of that 8 pip stop to make 16 pips. If it should dip 5 pips lower before it takes off. And if I put it down here, I'm saying, well, tonight that's going to happen down here. And you should be able to do that with your Fibonacci because at least it'll give you one number. But if you did it like this and said, well, estimated time of arrival, can this market make it to this trend line? If I'm projecting off of the last known price pulse, can it make it down there? Are we going to break this trend line on close? Getting very close to it. Now, the shallower I get in here, I can make a really nice ratio. Here's a 9 pip stop to make 24 pips. If I put it right here, I bet in 8 hours they'll fill me. I almost guarantee that that'll probably get filled and maybe blown out. That's a risk you're taking, but if you put it here where these two lines meet, maybe it makes you feel safe. So if you drop the script right there, you're saying that 8 hours from now, I expect the market to be down here, and I want to get in, right? So I'm create my own auction by picking the day, picking the time frame, the window of that drop as possible exposure to the market, but you're picking a 10 pip stop here, right? So you're putting out for 8 hours. You're putting out a scalp bank up here, right? And that's your, you know, right now it's a double top on the 4-hour, and I'm just I'm holding on to a sell here. And I guess I'm thinking that if it does go higher, I want to sell more because I don't think I sold enough. And this is where I guess you just have to. Now, I haven't done it in this account. I haven't taken any profits. I've tried to let the scripts play out to their predetermined exit. If you look through the history, you can tell if that's happened because you'll see it'll have turned color if it got out at the pre-described exit as opposed to you getting out before. That's another metric you'd have to pay attention to if you're trying to really scientifically. Of course, this is something that it's different every week, you know. And of course, if you only have an 8-hour orders in there or 4-hour orders, it can make a whole difference as far as the frequency of your dropping your tickets into the price, you know, into the volatility, because you know if they're hitting it hard, even your 2-hour scripts are going to fill, and your 1 hours and your 15s. So on the tablet I run 15s and 30s because I can just tap that, kind of like people are doing the texting. I just hit like a couple orders, and I can just troll the half-hour noise for getting in 3 pips deep, 8 pips deep, you know, 15 pips deep in an hour, 30 minutes, 30 pips deep, 1 hour, you know, maybe 60 pips deep. So you lay that first order bank in. Now, you have to have some kind of clue as to where we could go to in the next hour or 3 hours. Hopefully that's occurred to people. That, wow, it looks like U.S. is about to, or London's closing, and I don't see anybody. Like, we're done. We are done. It's like the end of the session. And of course, the British pound being trapped in this malaise of shit here is so tradable if you're willing to take 20 pips instead of 40 pips. And that makes all the difference in the world. Because 14 pips stop to make 32, and I made quite a clusterfuck of a stop. Some guy was asking about a 10 pip stop. I'm sure 10, here's a 10, risk 10 to make 20. Having one ticket that risks 10 to make 10, yeah, if you were to have that ticket and know where to place it every day and how long it should be there before it gets hit, that's the trick. Can you presuppose can you see a hole that probably will get filled, and then the market will be done with that void and come retract back to another price? If you can imagine that's one scenario, and then just have a ladder of orders sitting there waiting to get hit by the market, right? Waiting to get hit as the price goes into those spaces. So that's what I'm looking at is the possibility of fill and of being stopped out. Of course, it's tight stops are cheaper, right? Your probability of win rate looks bad because you're commingling tight stops with wide stops, but you're making money. And that's what you're supposed to be doing, is making money, not worried about, okay, well, I was able to pick the entry within 1 pip. I get that if you're in 400 standard lots and you don't want anybody to think that you would get into that trade without knowing exactly that it's time to get in now because it'll never go against me, not even a tenth of a pip. So let's get in here. And interesting. I don't know if that's really what kind of trading that is. I guess that's scalping. Anytime I'm thinking I'm in super big, but this is like mild swing trading I consider here on a micro account. It's a whole different world. And I guess I'm either waiting for something to delete itself here. And of course, how often am I going to babysit this, and can I trade this giant mess here while trading other currencies? Well, this is just an amazing drama, and we're above all that. And here's the sellers have come in today. I think they successfully scalped the half-hour chart. So when it popped up here, you see the rip back. They're already out. I mean, I don't even think they got their back to breakout here. They just made it back to the breakout in a half hour. Okay, so now here comes the buyers, but I can't buy at the market, unfortunately. All I can do is come in really tight here with a 2K and trail this with a 14 pip stop to make 28 and add to my winner and put my next entry here at the stop hunt. Right, so I'm always putting trailing limits in. If I think it's going up, in 8 hours from now, they could rip this down when Asia comes or something. Whatever's possible, right? So if I go from currency to currency, and here, this is kind of off the races. I wouldn't want to chase it. So I'm just going to hold that because I do think that it's hell-bent to go up here after this window, and we could put sell limits in there now for the scalp like this. Right, so it looks like this. You've got a 10 pip stop up here to scalp that window in some manner 8 hours from now. But maybe it's going to take 12 hours, and maybe you've run out of tickets. Your broker will let you drop in that. So your scalp tickets are up here like this, right? So you're anticipating a long run up, and you're looking forward to the but that may be too big of a burden on your mind to have to think about in the back of your mind that I might be getting filled on this dollar yen as it goes to hell. And I kind of want to make sure that it's got the proper half-hour price pattern when we go to hell down here. So, but I'm actually looking forward for it to go to hell. So, real contrarian trader. That's my specialty. If you say it's sunny out, I'm like, have you been in the shade? So here, buy deep. And here, put a scalp in. 9 pips. 9 pip stop. Okay, we gotta let this thing cook. Let it bake like a cake. I put 1 million tickets in.